Please welcome to the stage Hasan Minhaj.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you so much for having me. Give yourselves a big round of applause. This really is exciting. For those of you who know me, you know how much I love performing in front of giant screens. All 6 of you, you know what it is. I'm really honored to be a part of this evening. Generally, comedians, we're not really known for our style. We're known for wearing clothes that don't fit and getting marker all over our clothes. Technically, we were the original Off-White Virgil, I'm just saying. Now, I just want to clear the air here. I used to shop at Ross growing up and Target, so I don't know who a lot of you are. My apologies. But look, I know who some of you are. Some of you guys were on the sales rack, and that's okay, because a great philosopher once said, fashion should be accessible to everyone. Am I right, Tom Ford? I pulled that from tomford.com. But it's been an incredible year for fashion. An entire industry whose success hinges on labels and bias is becoming more inclusive and pushing boundaries, even if it sometimes puts white dudes in turbans. I'm looking at you, Gucci. Is Gucci here tonight? No, let's talk about them. I'm not sure if that was a runway show or if you all just joined the Rajanishi. Now, thankfully, my style has evolved since I was shopping at Ross, and so has menswear. I really do applaud your work. You guys all found a way to convince us that we could wear $150 sweatpants to work. You are proof that all heroes don't wear capes. Okay, no more jokes. I'll read the prompter. American fashion is the stage where the best of pop culture, music, sports, politics, and entertainment come together to push boundaries and capture the world's imagination. Designers today are as culturally diverse as they are talented. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the nominees for the Menswear Designer of the Year Award. The Menswear Designer of the Year is Rick Owens. Okay, I'm not making this up. Rick Owens could not be here because he missed his flight. So, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. So accepting on his behalf is Tyrone Dillon.
Rick sends his sincerest thanks on behalf of himself and his entire team. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harold Coda.
Almost 20 years ago, I invited Lynn to lunch after she savaged one of the shows I did at the Guggenheim Museum. Her review described the designer's relaxed Italian sprezzatura and sophisticated wabi-sabi neutrals as, I quote, famous droopy silhouette and bland palette. Her critique of Robert Wilson's poetic meander of mannequins down the beautiful Guggenheim ramp like chic extras from The Sheltering Sky was blistering. Her quote, "The clothes look like they got lost on their way from Bloomingdale's to Loehmann's." Back then, internet searches weren't so robust, so I didn't know what she looked like until she arrived at the museum's trustees' dining room, where many of the diners were actually wearing the clothes she had just disparaged. It was as if a Goya Maha had put on a black lace Balenciaga baby doll dress and exploded, but sporting maquillage à la poupée and a red-orange Louise Brooks bob and Mamie Eisenhower bangs. She looked, and it surprised me, sweet. An impression, incidentally, that was quickly dispelled over lunch. Lynn turned out to be a complicated, left of Trotsky, orgiastic fashion consumer, as well as opinionated fashion commentator. She had studied Marxist political economic theory at the New School, but stopped because she ended up spending her entire student loan on 6 French dresses. At the Village Voice, this woman who lavishes on herself honey-colored sable coats, a collection of 18th century diamonds, some paste, but some real, took charge of their union and pushed it towards more extreme militancy. She is a lover of avant-garde fashion, but seems happiest spending time in Clignancourt, English flea market stalls, and the 19th century shopping arcades of Paris, rummaging the past for battered dolls, Regency jewelry, mourning accessories, mourning as in funereal, and shrunken novelty cardigans. Her gimlet eye, her incisive mind, and her wicked barbs are variously focused on politics, culture, and fashion. But it is in her writing about the latter that her passions clearly reside. And even when shooting off an epistolary IED like her White House post, "High Heels to the Hurricane," one can imagine her typing it out with her lips pursed in a dimpled smile, Betty Boopish, her spirits buoyed higher than any Melania stilettos by the mischief she sows. She once wrote philosophically of a show crasher who scored a better seat than herself. Quote, "It is those true lovers of fashion cobbling together their fantastical looks and then venturing out to face the world that really keep this business alive." I'm thrilled to present the 2019 CFDA Media Award in honor of Eugenia Shepard to our sweetly acerbic writer, journalist, critic, idiosyncratic influencer, and one of those original few who really do keep this business lively and alive, Lynn Yeager.
Stop! Well, I didn't fall in the conversation pit, so I'm already ahead of the game. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Harold, for your lovely words. You know, we hear a lot of talk lately about diversity in fashion, and I would just like to say that I stand here as an early example of diversity. I consider myself pretty quirky as a fashion writer, and that makes this award all the more surprising and special for me. When I was a young girl growing up in working-class Massapequa Park on Long Island, my parents subscribed to the New Yorker magazine, which they thought was the pinnacle of urbane sophistication. So the first really serious fashion criticism that I was exposed to, that I read and loved, was in that magazine, which at the time never ran any pictures. Maybe that's why to this day I don't understand why my fabulous stories require any photos at all. When Mark Holgate at Vogue says to me, "Okay, interesting idea, but how will we illustrate it?" I bite my tongue, but what I really want to say is, pictures, who needs them? Aspiring fashion writers sometimes ask me how to break into the business. When I answer them, I like to quote Sally Singer, the editor who first brought me into Vogue. Sally once said that the key to good fashion writing is to be interested in everything except fashion: music, film, books, even politics. I certainly took this last piece of advice to heart. I've always loved politics and the ways in which style is expressed by real people, regardless of their circumstances. I actually covered the 2016 Trump inauguration, an event far too harrowing to go into here, for Vogue.com. So in addition to my fashion writing, I am grateful to Vogue.com for letting me do a weekly politics wrap-up every Sunday. I could talk about myself forever, and those who know me well will bear this out. But I know there are many other awards tonight. So let me close by saying thank you once again to the CFDA, to my friends and colleagues at Vogue, Sally, Mark, Choma, everybody that I work with, and of course to Anna Wintour. Lastly, I want to thank my parents, who sadly could not be here tonight. They despaired of me when I was growing up, failing every subject and only wanting to go shopping. Well, okay, Mom and Dad, I guess everything turned out all right.
Please welcome Michael Kors.
Hi, everyone. I have to say that spending time, quality time with Diane von Furstenberg over the last 13 years has made me realize that she is what everyone in fashion is always searching for, a true one-of-a-kind. I don't know anyone else on this planet who can be smart, sexy, forceful, and kind all at the same time, while fluffing her fabulous mane of hair and crossing and uncrossing her fishnet-clad set of gorgeous gams. If you looked up the word multitasking in your fashion Pictionary, surely we all know there would be a picture of DVF. Nothing with Diane is ever boring, particularly our CFDA board meetings. As you all can imagine, fashion people never lack for opinions, and discourse is encouraged. But Diane somehow always manages to know how to manage a bunch of rambunctious, overage kids, yes, kids, and come up with a solution that works for the whole family. She has served as a mentor and a champion, as our voice of reason, nurturing creativity, and ultimately building an incredibly strong fashion community. Diane is a force of nature, and she always thinks big, better, best. So everyone, I want you to please put your hands together and celebrate the incredible work that Diane von Furstenberg has done for American fashion and the world at large, and we all know she will continue to do so with great strength and intelligence and heart. By the way, she had no idea we were doing this.
All right, good evening. Fashion is glamorous. Fashion is mysterious. Fashion is the reflection of the moment. Designers are magicians. They create shapes, launch colors, define a silhouette, a body language. They invent a new way of expressing the zeitgeist. America is a place where dreams come true, where designers come from all over the world and transform the way people dress and behave. Council Fashion of Designers of America is the American family of these fashion designers who all go through their own and yet similar fashion journey. So this is what a fashion journey is about. We start very young, daring, ambitious, sometimes arrogant. We become superstars, and we think we are invincible. But invincible, no one is. And with growth come difficulties, obstacles, mistakes. Then we get strong again, and sometimes we have fear not to be relevant anymore, until a new generation comes up and rediscovers our work in vintage shops. And we're hot again. That is the journey of fashion. And as I am a vintage, I know. So I have been privileged to lead the CFDA for the last 13 years. My first goal was to turn it into a family, a place we could share our goals, our frustrations, our dreams. Make it an inclusive family, support one another, and use our being together to have more leverage, to be stronger and more powerful. Stephen and I started together our CFDA life, and we accomplished so much together. We doubled our membership, we created an endowment, we took over the fashion calendar, we strengthened American Next Fashion Generation through CFDA Vogue under the leadership of Anna Wintour. We launched the health initiative to protect models' well-being. We went to Washington to fight for copyright, and even though we totally failed, we enhanced the value for mass merchants to use proper designers. We started a strategic partnership group. We turned CFDA.com into an editorial destination for American fashion. And last but not least, sustainability, diversity, inclusion, and gender equality are finally being addressed. So it is so vital for the world and for CFDA. So I want to thank the CFDA Board of Directors for your support. I want to thank Stephen for your amazing leadership, Cassandra and Lisa, and the entire CFDA staff for your dedication and artwork. In fashion, it's all about making a glamorous entrance. But beautiful exits are very important too. I could not have wished for a better exit, a more glamorous upgrade, and a better successor than Tom. It took me a while to convince him, but I did it, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to the new chairman of the CFDA, Tom Ford. And
Dion, how did you know I've always wanted a torch? Always. Thank you. Anyone who's been lucky enough to spend time with you will agree that you are truly a force, and an incredibly charming one at that. We all owe you a great deal, Dion. I'm honored to be the new chairman of the CFDA and excited about the opportunities in the future of American fashion. I've spent most of my career living and working in Europe, but I am an American fashion designer at heart who started here on 7th Avenue. When I was asked to take on this new role, I felt a sense of duty to give back to our industry and to support our designers and the American fashion system in any way that I can, and in particular, to help the next generation of talent succeed. For many reasons, America can feel isolated and inward-looking, and one of my goals is to raise the international profile of American fashion and highlight the creativity that is so present in our industry. Speaking of international, it's time for the evening's next honoree, Karine Roitfeld. Don't get up yet. Karine is one of the most I have to talk about you first, Karine. Karine is one of the most inspiring, influential, and extraordinary women that I know. And she's also one of my dearest friends. I adore Karine for many reasons. Her great eye and sense of style has been an endless source of inspiration for me and for many others for more than 25 years that we've worked together. Her love of challenging convention in fashion photography is always tempered by her flawless taste and restraint. She knows the value of pushing an idea to its extreme, but her work is never self-indulgent. She's always professional and polite, but never prudish. And her innate sense of how women want to dress while navigating the complexities of their lives never fails to amaze and astound me. As a stylist and editor, she is fearless when in pursuit of beauty, refinement, and the unfamiliar. As a friend, she's fun, never judgmental, and infinitely loyal. As a mother, she's a deeply devoted and loving human being. Her work ethic, drive, and kindness are evident in her children, Vladimir and Julia, who have also inherited a flair for their mother's sense of elegance and style. And she has to be the sexiest grandmother that ever lived. For 3 decades, she's dedicated herself to securing the legacy for so many people who lead this industry today, and her 10 years at the helm of French Vogue are legendary. In a world where many have predicted the end of print magazines as we know them, Karine defied convention and successfully launched CR Fashion Book. With her son, Vladimir, she then created CR Studio, a talent agency dedicated to supporting a new generation of artists, stylists, photographers, and art directors. After helping so many others realize their vision, she has now launched her own collection of fragrances. And having been lucky enough to get quite close to Karine's neck on many occasions, I can tell you that she smells awfully good. Karine, I can think of no one who deserves the Founders Award in honor of Eleanor Lambert more than you. Ladies and gentlemen, Karine Roitfeld.
Tom knows how to make me blush for 25 years. So, hello everyone. It's such a privilege to be here with you this evening. This award means a lot to me, not only what it stands for, but also because it is in honor of Eleanor Lambert, who founded the Council of Fashion Designers of America in 1962. I myself was very lucky to meet Mrs. Lambert many years ago here in New York. She welcomed me to one of her best-dressed lunches at Indochine. More than an event, there was a real institution. Mrs. Lambert was a true champion of fashion and fought to put designers on the front row of the fashion world. Two objectives that I have been very close to my heart throughout my entire career. Speaking of incredible women, I would like to take this time to sincerely thank Diane from Furstenberg, not just for this award, but for years of support and friendship to me and women all over the world. Diane, I don't know if you remember, when I first came to New York, you gave me a $50 silver coin as a good luck charm. Your kind gesture has never left me, and never has the coin. To all the artists, designers, models that I've pleasure to work with along these years, thanks for making me this journey so incredible. What a dream it has been, working together as a team. And my dear Carl, I saw a lot of your pictures you did of me during this projection. Your presence, humor, and unique talent are missed, and will forever cherish our friendship. And to you, Tom Ford, congratulations, and I cannot wait to see what you do for this amazing institution. To the board and committee, thank you. The work you do here is absolutely crucial, and of course, congratulations to all the winners tonight. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bernadette Peters.
Good evening, everyone. I have a little bit of a cold, so I hope you don't mind me sounding like a boy whose voice is changing or something. When I was 21 years old, I met Bob Mackie, and he was the costume designer for the Carol Burnett show. We all know that Bob has a great sense of style and glamour, but he also has an incredible sense of humor. And I know that some of us in this room remember the hilarious costumes of the brilliant cast of the Carol Burnett show. The rest of you can Google it. Bob churned out 50 costumes a week for that show. When Carol came on as Scarlett O'Hara wearing the curtains, Bob was the one who made sure to include the curtain rod. And when Carol went for a fitting for the iconic Mrs. Wiggins character, he presented her with a little black skirt that was very tight at the knees with a big empty bubble in the seat. And Carol said, well, Bob, you know, we're going to have to take that in because I'm flat back there. And Bob said, no, just stick your butt out. And so Carol hobbled around, and they created the famous Mrs. Wiggins walk. Bob got his start at the age of 10 when he made his own Halloween costume for school. To quote Bob, I dressed up as a French whore. I'd like to see that. Referencing the paintings of Toulouse-Lautrec as his inspiration. He went on to work as a sketch artist for Edith Head at Paramount, and a little-known fact is that as a young designer, working for Jean-Louis, he sketched the design for the dress Marilyn Monroe wore when she sang "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" to JFK. Talk about a showstopper. Bob's talent for technicolor extravagance took the entertainment industry by storm. He made costumes for Judy and Liza, Dolly, Raquel, Diana Ross, Carol Channing, Barbra Streisand, and, of course, Cher. Today, musicians Miley Cyrus and Pink regularly wear Bob Mackie. He's the only costume designer to be inducted to the Television Academy Hall of Fame, and it's no wonder, like designers like Alessandro Michele, fashion stylists, and celebrities have paid tribute to him. His sense of glamour, daring, and kindness have inspired today's costume designers to recreate so many of his memorable creations. Bob came into my life in 1967 on the Carol Burnett Show, and he never left. I can't even begin to tell you what Bob has meant to me throughout my life, really. When I had my first little nightclub act, I didn't have money for a dress. And Bob said, no, wait. And he went into his archives and he pulled out a dress and he remade it totally for me. And then he added a boa and a turban, and it was red. He knows how to give a girl pizzazz. And when I got married, Bob made my wedding dress for me as a gift. He designed my costumes for Pennies from Heaven, the revival of the Broadway show On the Town, and every dress I've ever performed in on my concert tours. He knows exactly how to dazzle and entertain. When I posed for Playboy, it was his idea to dress me in his versions of the most iconic lingerie down through the ages. And for the cover of Playboy, he put me in a low-cut little black slip dress. And then he put the Playboy bunny right here. And you can imagine where the ears went. Bob, for half a century, you've made me stand out, sparkle, and shine. It's an honor to be your friend, and it gives me such joy today to celebrate your kindness and your genius, and to present you with the Jeffrey Bean Lifetime Achievement Award.
Wow. Thank you, my darling Bernadette. God. A while back, visiting my friend Joe in Palm Springs, he came running in from the pool with a phone call. He said to me in a stage whisper, "It's Diane von Furstenberg." And I went, "Really?" I mean, I don't know the lady that well. I just, whatever. Anyway, and she said, "Do you know why I'm calling?" I said, "No, I don't." "Darling, you are going to be the recipient of the CFDA Jeffrey Bean Lifetime Achievement Award." And I thought, really? And you see, in my mind's eye, I'm still 35. Then I realized that I had just turned 80 in March, and I thought, well, okay, that's fine. You get a hand for 80, that's amazing. A few weeks ago, I attended the Met Costume Ball, and I was introduced and talked to many rather famous, younger than me designers that were really happy to meet me. And they said, how, as young design students, they followed my work rather closely, and who knew? Then I remembered when I was 12 or 13, being entranced by the photos of Marlene Dietrich in her famous Jean-Louis practically nude performing gowns. I realized these people are all growing up when I was doing my thing on television, the shows, the red carpets, the Cher get-ups, all that stuff. And at the time, I was going to just doing my job. I wasn't thinking about anything but filling the order, doing what was required of me. I never once thought about the legacy of the future, just the present. Now with the internet, and you all know that, one can never escape one's past work. Ugh. And then there was that phone call and this wonderful award. Thank you, CFDA, Diane von Furstenberg. Thank you, Tom Ford, for making me take a look at the past 50 years. Thank you, Stan Herman, Fern Malice, and Stephen Kolb for being so supportive and for being a great cheerleader for me. Thank you. And of course, the lovely Bernadette Peters for being here for me. Thank you all.
Please welcome Jessica Williams.
Wow, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to my birthday party. This is fucking amazing. Anna, you shouldn't have. That eggplant option was bananas. It was great. I am truly, truly, truly so happy to be here. And yes, I have always been 6 feet tall. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. I have always been supermodel adjacent. So thank you, Tom Brown, for dressing my supermodel adjacent ass. I really appreciate it. I feel like I'm serving you all with some Gentleman Jack realness. So at top of the morning, to you. Tonight, I am here to present the award for Accessory Designer of the Year. But before we do that, I really want to use my platform to raise awareness for a cause that is truly, really close to my heart. I would like to call for the hashtag Justice for Women with size 11 feet and above. I mean, really. I would like some true size 11s from you people, and with a sensible heel, because no matter how fashionable I am, I'd like to feel like I could evade an attacker at any given moment. Hashtag stay woke. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. I do appreciate it. And now, here are the nominees for this year's Accessory Designer of the Year Award. And the award for Accessory Designer of the Year is for Ashley Olsen and Mary Kate Olsen for The Row. Woo!
No, I didn't. But thank you, Deanne. Thank you for all these amazing years. Welcome, Tom. We're happy to have you here. Thank you to the CFDA and everyone on our team that worked so hard. And yeah, this goes out to them and our clients, our customers, that keeps us going. Anything else? No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yara Shahidi.
Hello, hello. Okay, so this might be the first time in CFDA history that the award is actually larger than the awardee. And for anyone wondering, no, Barbie unfortunately won't be able to accept this award in person, but she's not your typical honoree. But then again, Barbie is not your typical doll. She is part of young people's lives in more than 150 countries. She has 99% awareness in the world, and turning 60 this year, she is a star on social media with more than 5 million subscribers on YouTube and 2 million followers on Instagram. But most of all, she is an inspiration. Barbie has always had a special connection to this industry. I mean, how many of us can say we've collaborated with Vera Wang, Oscar de la Renta, Karl Lagerfeld, Anna Sui, Yves Saint Laurent, and Diane von Furstenberg, and dozens upon dozens more. Barbie is about fashion, but she's also about impact, which is why it's so important that she's not just a part of young people's lives, but that she's changing those lives for the better. And I've got to be honest, it's pretty cool to have a Barbie doll that looks just like me. I mean, they even got my unibrow and my Vote t-shirt right. But what's even more exciting than that is that young people around the world of every shape, size, and background have a Barbie that actually reflects them. A new generation of Barbie is inspiring a new generation of girls and boys, and I can't wait to see where they lead us. So it is my pleasure to welcome Lisa McKnight to accept the 2019 Board of Directors Tribute Award on behalf of Barbie.
Thank you, Yara, so much for presenting this award and for being such an inspiring role model to so many young women everywhere. Thank you to the board and the entire CFDA community. On behalf of everyone who works on the Barbie brand, we are humbled and grateful for this incredible honor. It's also a big responsibility. This recognition is a reminder that Barbie has always been more than a toy. Barbie is an idea that started with our founder, Ruth Handler, a visionary and creative force of nature and an entrepreneur at a time when women weren't even allowed to cash their own checks. 60 years ago, she created Barbie with the philosophy that through the doll, a little girl could be anything she wanted to be. That's the idea behind Barbie. And I know for many of you, Barbie was your first model, your first muse, your first canvas, your first creative partner. She sparked your imagination, perhaps even inspired you to imagine what you could become. Throughout the past 6 decades, Barbie has influenced the cultural conversation. She's led the way in expanding the definition of what a woman could aspire to. She became an astronaut 4 years before we put a man on the moon. She was elected president more than 2 decades before the first woman won the popular vote. Woo! Go Barbie! And we're proud to say that today, Barbie is the most inclusive and diverse doll line in the world. So for our next chapter, we're taking on our most ambitious initiative to date. Tragically, as young as the age of 5, girls stop believing in their potential. We're addressing this critical issue with the Dream Gap Project. This includes funding ongoing research to better understand this behavioral shift in girls, and the project will also continue to highlight positive role models like Yara. And we can't do it alone. We cannot do it alone. So tonight, we're asking you to join us to help every girl reach her full potential and unlock a future bright with choice and possibility. It's never been more important. On behalf of all of us at Barbie, thank you.
New designers must be some of the bravest people in the world. Think about it. Launching a line is like writing the final season of Game of Thrones. Your clothes need to be badass enough to be meme-worthy, but not so ridiculous to provoke a mutiny by your fan base. Here are the very brave nominees for Emerging Designer of the Year. The Emerging Designer of the Year is Emily Adams Bodie for Bodie.
Thank you. This is such an honor to be here, and I really appreciate all the support that many of you guys in the room have given me, through Fashion Fund and over the last 2.5 years, especially DVF and Steven, and really believing in my brand. I'm forever grateful to all the strong women who have helped me launch Bodhi, from my mother, my aunts, all my grandmothers, and the American craftswomen who I'm forever indebted to that I'm inspired by. Lastly, thank you to my incredible team members and the customers, clients, my friends, collaborators, Aaron, and thank you for supporting me in my pursuit of American storytelling.
Please welcome the CEO and President of the CFDA, Stephen Kolb.
Designers use many tools to realize their creative vision, and you see many of them on the screens tonight. From a good pair of scissors to thimbles, pins and needles to hand-sew garments, they are essential to the design process. But it is the people who use these tools that matter most. It is all of you who fuel our industry with ideas in action. You have built American fashion into a cultural influence that drives our economy. Here at the Brooklyn Museum, designers, business partners, friends, supporters, muses, you have come together to celebrate our industry, and I thank you for that. At CFDA, we have invested much into making sure fashion is an industry of opportunity. From our glass runway study on gender equality with glamour to our insider-outsider briefing on inclusivity and diversity with PVH, I am very proud of our work to create greater equity in fashion. I am also proud of the response we have had to our sustainability-centered resource hub on CFDA.com. It provides CFDA members, educators, and the professional community with open access to resources specific to fashion design and sustainable strategies. Tonight, I am thrilled to have Adrian Chang, CFDA's first ever global ambassador, here with us at the awards. For those of you who don't know Adrian, he is a visionary in modern commerce and an advocate of the arts. And as our global ambassador, he will help accelerate CFDA's growth internationally. We are excited to bring his expertise to our members and grateful for his support of emerging talent and American fashion as a whole. Thank you, Adrian. Please join me in welcoming him. Now I would like to acknowledge our friends without whose support the CFDA Fashion Awards would not be possible. Thank you, LifeWater, American Airlines, Eco Damani, Eco Nil, Lyft, Maestro Dubel Tequila, The Standard, the Brooklyn Museum, and Perrier Jouet. Let's raise a glass to all of them. Tonight, I also want to express CFDA's gratitude to Giancarlo Giametti and Mr. Valentino for supporting CFDA and generously underwriting the International Award through their foundation. Their contribution will support the CFDA's Fashion Manufacturing Initiative, which connects independent designers to production, helping them develop the skills and enhance their creativity, furthering the mission of their foundation and the CFDA. Please join me in thanking Mr. Valentino and Giancarlo Giametti for showing their love for the CFDA and American fashion. Thank you, Diane, for your amazing tenure as our chair. You have been an incredible partner who helped build CFDA into a world-class organization. I am forever grateful for your commitment to the CFDA and to me personally. And thank you, Tom, for leading us forward. I speak for all the CFDA members when I say we are very excited to have you as our new chair. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christian Siriano and Ashley Graham.
That was nice. Looked pretty. My fashion trajectory probably wasn't the same as most CFDA designers. I applied to FIT my senior year, and I did not get in. It was pretty devastating, and I was heartbroken. But I didn't let rejection stop me from dreaming big. So I moved to London, and I got to work for some of the biggest brands in the world. I then won this fashion competition show that helped launch my career in the worst economic time ever. But I persevered, I worked hard, and I forged my own path. And I'm really lucky to say that I've had beautiful work in FIT's museum, so it all kind of worked out. I am sure that a lot of people can understand what it means to be here standing on the stage right now.
And no one should ever underestimate the power of a good education, which is why the CFDA Scholarship Program is so incredibly important. Tonight, I am honored to announce this year's recipients. The 2019 CFDA Scholarship Award goes to Yimai Hu from Rhode Island School of Design. Woo! Jacques Aboubli, who is a student at Parsons School of Design, is also receiving a CFDA Scholarship Award this year. The Jeffrey Bean Design Scholarship Award recipient is Samantha Diorio, who is studying at Parsons School of Design. Sorry, Samantha, love you. Isabel Holden, who is a student at Marist College, is receiving the Liz Claiborne Design Scholarship Award. And Sloan Fox, who is at Kent State University, is the winner of this year's Kenneth Cole Footwear Innovation Award. You guys, these students represent the next generation of fashion talent, so please join me in applauding the honors here tonight. Woo!
Congratulations, designers. My advice to you is don't ever let rejection stop from you dreaming big and following everything you want to do. And we hope to see you guys, hopefully all of you, on the CFDA stage very soon. Congratulations.
Please welcome Dao Yi Chow and Maxwell Osborne.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, guys.
We first saw Eileen Fisher speak at the Copenhagen Fashion Summit in 2017. It was there where she talked about her Vision 2020 commitment, her company's goal to transform their $500 million clothing company into becoming 100% sustainable by 2020. Some might have seen that as overly ambitious, but Eileen felt like she had no other choice. At that point, Maxwell and I were having our own thoughts of evolving public school. We didn't really know where to start when it came to designing within the parameters of circularity and building a business around social consciousness. We managed to arrange a meeting with Eileen at her infamous tiny factory. We were blown away at what we saw there. Not only had they managed to recollect over 1 million pieces of Eileen Fisher garments in the last decade, they had this incredible magical team and system in place to produce purposeful collections based in zero waste and upcycling. We knew we had found our new path.
Indeed. Anyone interested in impacting change while designing good clothes will respect Eileen's journey. Not only was she eager to spend time with us, she really is genuine and true. Half jokingly, we talked about doing a collaboration. She said, okay, cool. And
she had no idea who we were.
She had no idea. Zero. It takes vision and courage to do the right thing. Eileen's made committing to best practices easier for all of us. She's paved the way to better tomorrow and made it possible for all of us to follow in her footsteps.
Eileen once said of her original pledge to becoming 100% sustainable, you just have to say yes and make a commitment, even if you don't know what you're doing. Well, I think she's figured out what she's doing. Eileen's been an outlier, visionary, problem solver, and an incredible role model for the entire industry. And we are also proud to call her our mentor and friend. Eileen, there's no one more deserving of this honor, and we are so thrilled to present you the CFDA Positive Change Award.
Goodness. Oh, those guys are beautiful. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Dow. Thank you, Maxwell. You guys are amazing. Right, I remember. I didn't know who you were. I'm kind of out of it. Oh, well. Anyway, here I am. Thank you. Thank you to the CFDA. And thank you to everyone at Eileen Fisher, who works so tirelessly and passionately and just cares so much about the people in this industry and the planet. And thank you to my daughter for coming here with me tonight and for supporting me. And I want you to know, Sasha, that I do this for you, and I do this for the next generation, because it matters. So I thought about what I might say tonight, since I had this opportunity to speak with all of you. And I thought, well, I guess I didn't need to deliver the depressing news that our planet's on fire, or that this industry is not sustainable as it is. So I guess you all know that. And in fact, I know many of you are already doing some really good work in this space, especially the CFDA. So what I thought is I would take this moment to encourage you, to appeal to you, to use your creativity, your passions, your talents, your resources, and to work to rethink, to reimagine, and to reinvent this amazing industry, because it really needs you to do that. This is difficult and important work, but it's also really creative, innovative, fun, and my daughter tells me it's even cool. See these guys? It's cool. So anyway, you guys are amazing. I'm kind of blown away by all of you. And I know that if we work together, that we can find solutions and that we can move this industry ahead much faster, and that we can create a beautiful, clean, new fashion industry, one where everyone, including the planet, thrives. So let's do this together. Let's be an amazing industry that's a force, a really powerful force for positive change in the world. My daughter says next year all of you should be up here getting the Positive Change Award. So thank you all so much.
I'm Amanda Harlick. All of us here think we know Carl. I use the present tense deliberately, as he will be with all of us who knew him, and even those who didn't, for the foreseeable future and beyond. Karl Lagerfeld. Quixotic, precocious, prolific, one of the most forceful characters, and yes, greatest designers of the 20th, 21st centuries. Indelible as permanent marker. Karl lived for his work. No class in the end was as important to him as being working class. So profound was his mercurial thinking that he was able to establish a spirit, conjure a different sensibility for each of the houses he designed for. He would often sit back and wonder at this ability to separate the houses, as if he had an enfilade in his design mind, each room differently shaped and filled with different ideas and even a different light. We would collapse onto the jet after the Fendi show to fly back from Milan to Paris to ratchet up Chanel, which would show a week later. And when Paris spread herself in a glitter of Haussmann geometry beneath us as we began to land, he would often remark how different Paris was from the Italian cities. More delicate, less sensual, visceral, and pigmented. How Chanel could never be Italian, nor Fendi French. It was the same to him as trying to translate Rilke into French or Caterina Pozzi into English. Impossible. He felt the rhythm of place, its voice, its tone so acutely. His work at best was visual music, sometimes as punctuated as rap, sometimes as mysterious as Schubert. The clue to Karl was his depth. He could read an emotional skeleton in everyone in the same way that I believe he saw ghosts. He was profoundly sensitive, and yet an astute strategist and an academic. He was his own library of philosophy, photography, interior design, biography, poetry, art, architecture, history, and politics, which colored his night visions and fueled his days in the landscape of drifting papers and books. He was happiest lost in this landscape of his mind, and yet he kept this private. He polished his public appearances, so he disappeared behind the black and white. You see, I am recognized everywhere I go. I am like a cartoon of myself, a cipher. I must say, I am quite pleased with this dolly. Powdered hair, dark glasses, stiff collar, tie, tailoring, and a glimmer of a Belle Perron pin, sometimes his beloved Choupette brooch, but always his lucky watch and his mother's lapis signet ring. He had a whole room of Karl portraits, robots, teddy bears, dollies, which he never looked at, preferring instead his Murakami portrait set in a field of flowers. But he loved performing to an audience, however many friends and journalists, TV and film crews, editors-in-chief, and celebrities would fill the studio during the final fittings before a show of, say, 98 Passage. He would rise to each and every single one and twist them into his own highly charged foxtrot or rumba. He was energized by the energy of attention. His wit was formidable, like his rapid-fire multilingual punning, which he could also draw as rebus puzzles. He was, in fact, his own unique kind of rebus, the public Karl with the hidden meaning behind the form. He literally tangoed with light and shade, public and private. He loved the mix in the paradox, like his eclectic playlists creating new and surprising resonances through juxtaposition and echo. He spliced Corbusier with Baroque, Versailles with punk, ancient Egypt with New York, and yet he kept his private world exotically and hermetically private. When I asked him once if he thought he would ever fall deeply in love again in the way that he had loved Jacques de Bachet, what if, Karl, some spectre de la rose should leap through your open windows? He replied, I always sleep with my windows tightly shut. It was only when he took off his dark glasses to sketch that I noticed the softness of his light brown eyes, the way they raked the whole room while he was talking to one person as if he was sizing up everyone's reaction to what was being fitted or what he had said. Karl was meteoric, a force field of lightning ideas and visions. He was his own St. Elmo's fire, illuminating everyone around him. He was an artist and had the impatience of a visionary and the practical nous of an engineer. Indeed, his clothes were engineered to the limits of their lightness. Karl was never more engaged than when he was working on the making of a collection. His sketches obsessed him. It took hours sometimes for him to find exactly the angle of attitude he was chasing. He would joke about how full his wastepaper basket got. Fittings could be a battle initially, until we all understood exactly what was in the sketch. Every millimeter mattered. Just as the focus of everyone in the studio, every premiere and seconde had to follow Carl's line entirely, however new and potentially impossible the gravitational challenge. Carl exacted acts of faith, and the reward was his absolute loyalty and kindness. And yet he would question and refine his fashion proposition right up to the show. As the applause rose above the finale music in the Grand Palais, and he was about to walk out into the light, he would look at me and say, "That doesn't make the next one." And in the corners of his magnificent mind, even then en coulisses, with the thunder of applause like tremendous waves landing on the shore, he began all over again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anna Wintour.
Amanda, that was wonderful. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about my friend, Sarah Burton, whose work has always had such an incredible spirit of generosity at its core. As many of you know, Sarah got her start thanks to Alexander McQueen, who handpicked her out of school to be his right hand. All of us who visited the house then could see how deeply he trusted her and how she helped him to define his vision. After Alexander left us, there was no question of who should lead. There was only the question of whether Sarah would agree to do so. Today, we are all so grateful that she was willing to step out of the shadows and give of herself, turning her brilliant attention to the role that he left behind. It was a surprise how quickly Sarah found her voice. Leading a house that carries the legacy of another designer is a daunting task. It requires respect for the house's particular code, but also the daring to reinvent forms and to adapt old habits to a new time. From her very first show, almost a decade ago, Sarah seemed to announce that the house would be warmer, perhaps more human, and above all, alive with femininity, defined in 100 different ways. We were dazzled by an extraordinary show which took its inspiration from the Shetland Islands, while another collection looked to Cornwall and found life in everything from needlepoint prayer stools to children's socks in a witch's tree. These were Sarah's way of rediscovering a sense of community in Britain after Brexit. Many of us have also been amazed by Sarah's astonishing capacity to keep everyone in the dark about what she's working on. In 2011, the fashion world was full of rumors that Sarah was designing Kate Middleton's wedding dress. No, no, she said, hoodwinking every journalist under the sun, including me. I am told she's one of the best secret keepers in London, and I believe it. I would not be surprised that if she were also, apart from fulfilling her duties as a mistress of the Royal Wardrobe, a highly regarded member of MI6. Sarah will always have a special place in the hearts of my family. because of the wedding dress she designed for my daughter B. I say a dress, but what she really gave us was her creativity, her time over countless fittings, and her care. Sarah is famous for being hands-on. Every garment that comes out of McQueen has had, quite literally, her pins in it. She is a dream collaborator, kind and attentive, perpetually apologetic in the way that only a British person can truly be, and yet certain in the strength of her point of view. She is also without pretension. I have an enduring memory of Sarah buried up to her knees in a tick-infested swamp in our property in order to carefully arrange B's dress for the camera. I am told she was once caught kneeling to pin the hem of a ball gown while extremely pregnant with twins. And is there another designer who would think to turn the top floor of her store into a community education space for 60 design students and neglect even to mention it to the press? Or to bring her entire team from London here to celebrate with her tonight? How Sarah does all that she does, and with such energy and with such humility, is a mystery to me, especially because she has a family of her own. She is raising 3 creative and charming young daughters with her wonderful husband, David. And how fortunate those girls are to have a mother like Sarah, who has been known to make them perfect tiny gymnastic outfits in the McQueen atelier, confusing the seamstresses with the sudden appearance of purple spandex and gold fringe, or driving 5 hours from a campaign shoot and then 5 hours right back in order to see their school play. In everything she does, Sarah shows that genius and generosity thrive off each other. She has spent her life reminding us that you are not truly successful until you give your time and your talent to the people whom you love. It is my absolute delight now to present Sarah Burton with the CFDA's Valentino and Giancarlo Giametti International Award.
Thank you, Anna. Ooh, not very good at this. Thank you, Anna. I have to apologize for lying to you. So, I feel so honored to be given the Valentino, Garavini, and Giancarlo Giametti International Award. It truly is an honor. Thank you, CFDA. I remember coming here with Lee to get his award 16 years ago, so it's an incredibly proud moment for me to be back here. Thank you to Francois-Henri Pinault and to Emmanuel Ginsberger, our CEO, for your continued support and belief, and for making McQueen a place where creativity is paramount. At McQueen, we're a family, and none of this would be possible without my amazing team. You are so talented and a real privilege to work with. And finally, thank you, Anna, for your constant support, guidance, and friendship, and for giving me the confidence always to tell my own stories. Thank you.
Okay, see you two afterwards at the after party at my house, otherwise known as my apartment. We could play The Sims and smoke some weed and catch up on tonight's episode of The Bachelorette. Okay. They're not coming, probably. They ain't coming. When HBO aired Tudo Queens, I had the honor of taking part in their #BecauseOfHer campaign celebrating female talent. And it was so important for me to share how so much creativity happens when you are supported and celebrated, regardless of gender, race, or sexual preference. Fashion is a space where women can allow themselves to be open and challenge convention. But also like to open that up to gender nonconforming individuals as well. And I love how so many of these womenswear designers help us to express ourselves as individuals. So let's take a look at the nominees for Womenswear Designer of the Year. The Womenswear Designer of the Year is Brandon Maxwell.
Do you mind holding that? Sorry. Oh no. Okay. I really thought this was going to be more of a viewing party for me, so I took full advantage of the free bar, and I just feel really sad to have done that now. Yeah, I didn't prepare anything, so I just want to say something. You know, I want to say something to the nominees that I was in this category with. I really have to tell you that when am I going to pass out? I might pass out. When I went to when I got the phone call that I was nominated for this, I was on my way to my therapist, and my publicist called me, and she was screaming on the phone, and if you know, I have a tendency to say kind of whatever comes to my mind, so I thought I had really done something very wrong, and it turns out that I didn't, and I've been spending the last 2 months figuring out what I could have done right to be here, and let me just tell you, to be in a category with the people that I've been in a category with is really blown my mind in a way that I couldn't really understand yet, and I can't believe this is happening to me right now. My pants are so tight, my bow tie is wrong, I'm so sorry. To the nominees in this category, you cannot imagine what it feels like to have been in your company for me. It is an absolute pleasure. To anybody who's gonna play music, this is really a once in a lifetime. This will never happen to me again, so if you got your finger on a button, take it off. I took theater classes in high school. I will project. I have some things to say. I am so proud to be part of an industry like this, where we wake up every day charged with the idea that making a woman feel good, that making someone happy is valid. We go to work every day in New York City reading articles about, is New York relevant? Does it matter? And yes, it does, because I have worked for 10 years as a stylist before I started my company with almost every single person in this room. And I know that you're kind people, that you work hard. We have scrubbed off tonight and put on a suit, but 364 days a year, we are trying to pay the light bill and make it happen. No designer does this job alone. And I just have to thank a few people. I just really, really, really want to thank my team who comes in every day. This year has been a year that has shot me to the stars and brought me to my knees. Thank you so much for devoting your life to this, and I could never repay you. I just want to thank my parents, my dad, who has just run the business and kept me alive and told me every single day that no matter what I do, he was just as proud of me in the school play as he is what I'm doing now. And to my mom, who has had a rough year and been sick, and I just thank you for being the best mom, for being the first woman that taught me what beauty really is, inside and out, who woke up every single day and treated people kind, and that is the most fashionable thing. To KCD and Ed and Renee and Tanique and Haley, and I can't believe I'm standing up here, and IMG and Ivan and Ann, and I just want to say one last thing. You know, where I come from, there stood a pretty good chance that I was going to be forgotten because of how I came into the world. And I woke up every day reading books about the greats: Tom, Michael, Donna, Calvin, Dion, Tommy, Ralph. People who went to work every single day with the idea that the American dream matters, that through hard work and dedication, you can achieve anything. And I know that I am very long way from being there, but this is very, very kind of you to make me feel that I should stay on the road. And I really want to thank you for that. I don't know why I'm here, honestly. And the last thing that I want to say, because I think this is the thing that matters most. To Jesse, for 15 years of my life, for sitting at that table at night when I can't make it home on time, for loving me just where I'm at, when the reviews are bad, when the reviews are good, for making me feel my most beautiful in my ugliest moments, when they play me off, when the music stops, when the lights dim, and they ask me to go. I will happily go into your arms, because that is the most beautiful place. Thank you. Would not be a great enough sentiment for how I feel. I thank you really and truly from the bottom of my heart for this. Thank you so much.
If anyone knows how to make a statement, it's Jennifer Lopez. I first met Jennifer more than 20 years ago, which is odd because we're both still in our 30s. By then, she was already an icon, having danced her way into our consciousness as a fly girl on In Living Color. Before pursuing a career in acting and music. I don't need to list her meteoric rise and phenomenal successes that recently had Time name her one of the most influential people in the world. I've always been partial to her fashion choices. I particularly liked the black leg-revealing dress she wore to the Grammys a few years ago. Thankfully, it was mine. And I loved the gold mirrored mosaic gown she wore to present at the Academy Awards this year. Also, thank God it was mine. If the Academy of Motion Pictures ever aspires to gender equality with an Oscar redesign, I know whose silhouette they should model the women's statue after. When she wore the green Versace jungle dress to the Grammy Awards in 2000, unfortunately not mine, overnight, the red carpet photos of her became the most popular internet search of all time and actually compelled Google to launch their image search platform. Absolutely true, that. But Jennifer's greatest achievements have nothing to do with her physical attributes. They have to do with her heart and her great sense of caring and empathy. In addition to her advocacy for the underserved and LGBTQ+ communities, her pro-feminist values have helped liberate women from oppressive stereotypes in terms of self-image and sexuality. Jennifer has always been a provocative performer and a sex symbol, but always on her own terms. Her bravery with fashion on and off stage, with its exploration of female empowerment and body confidence, has made it okay for women with hips and curves to feel good about their bodies. Jennifer forever changed the mainstream female body image, and long ago paved the way for the body-positive conversation we are all now finally redressing. It is my honor to present the Council of Fashion Designers of America's 2019 Fashion Icon Award to Miss Jennifer Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. This is so cool. Oh my goodness. Tom, thank you for those beautiful words. It's true, you get up here and your heart starts beating fast and stuff. I've respected you so much for such a long time, not only for your immense talent and creativity, but for your ability to reinvent. Like everyone here, I followed you through Gucci and YSL to your own label at Tom Ford, and it's just as celebrated and respected as any ever created. You're amazing. Thank you for everything. I love our relationship. Thank you so much. You really made it a powerhouse, and I know in our house, Alex couldn't survive without you. I like to think it's me that he can't live without, but it's really you. He can't live without. I'm so grateful to be receiving tonight's Fashion Icon Award. Receiving an award for the fashion and image you put forward, which is such a big part of what I do, is a huge honor. But when you realize the power of fashion at such a young age, even subconsciously, you know it's going to be a big part of your life. I think we all realize the power fashion has right from the beginning. When you wear your special dress and your daddy says, "Oh, you look so beautiful," and your grandma fawns over you, you understand that how people see you is important. And a lot of that is expressed through what you wear. But after I started my career and it expanded into movies and music, I learned that it's much more profound than that. Whether it's in a movie role or a look in a music video that sets a trend for pop culture, or on a red carpet, or transcending into a character, or giving you the confidence you need to perform in front of 20,000 people, fashion is about the powerful moments it creates that can inspire you and the world around you. It's an honor to be recognized by some of the best artists, talent, and designers in the world for simply doing what you love. Thank you. I grew up in the Bronx. I don't know, some of you may have heard. So of course I had to wear Ralph Lauren tonight, also from the Bronx. I know he understands a girl's love of crop tops, ponytails, sparkles, and a little drama. Growing up there in the 80s gave me my first fashion influences. As a girl, I didn't have a lot of clothes, but I would cut up my sweatshirts and cut up my jeans, and I'd make mini skirts out of them, and I'd try to be like my idols, Madonna and Cyndi Lauper and Janet Jackson. I was also influenced by the streets of my neighborhood, the explosion of hip hop at that time. Being in the epicenter of that, the baggy jeans and the shell toe Adidas and the Timberland boots and lots of jewelry. Too much jewelry was not enough jewelry. Some things never change. And of course, my hoops. I can't forget my hoops, my signature hoop earrings. But once I took the 6 train into the city, traded my Timbs for Doc Martens, I cut my hair short, I did a more downtown look, I realized there was so much more out there. And that continued to grow as I entered the business. I was exposed to Orbey and Kevin Aquan, who worked with all those supermodels that I looked at in Vogue magazine as I rode the 6 train into the city. So when I had the opportunity to choose my hair and makeup artist for my first album cover shoot, magically, there I was in the room with them. I had also grown up with a deep love of Hollywood musicals instilled in me by my mom. Of the 40s and 50s, the glitz and glam of Ava Gardner, Rita Moreno, Sid Charisse, and Marilyn Monroe. So with those 2 doing my hair and makeup, and Andrea Lieberman, who was my stylist for so many years, exposing me not only to the designers of the day, but those of the 60s and 70s, Halston, Balenciaga, Courrèges, Valentino, Alaya. It was like a playground for me, a literal dream come true. You know, I started making records in the 90s, in the era of the waif and the supermodel. But once I was introduced to those people, like in this room, my life changed. Just sitting in the design rooms of Oscar de la Renta, Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, and so many of you guys here tonight. People who designed and allowed me to get into their designs for women with curves like me. To say I was like a kid in a candy store is an understatement. And slowly, as curves began to be embraced, the girl who wanted to combine street style with couture began to blossom. And I'm grateful to all of you for that. We've lost 2 of those great artists, Kevin Aquan and Orbey, this year, who helped me. Who helped turn me from an around-the-way girl to a girl who could grace a magazine cover. I said I wasn't gonna cry. I can't. Together, we created so many iconic looks, and I'm forever grateful. And tonight, I'm dedicating this award to them. I've been a little, I've been a little sentimental lately because this is a special year for me personally. I'm about to start a tour in celebration of a big birthday. I know, we don't have to say it out loud. We know what it is. It's also the 20th anniversary of my first album on the 6th, and yes, it's almost 20 years since that green dress. Since that moment, green has always been my lucky color. It's been around 40 movies, 11 albums, a couple of babies, a couple of divorces, but countless great moments. And as this night shows, there's so much more to look forward to. Before I end, I want to thank some people. I have to give a special thank you to some people who have been in my life for many years. When you're in this business, you need people who understand you and don't try to change you. And for me in the fashion arena, those people have been Rob Zangardi and Marielle Hahn, my stylists. Rob and Marielle, you understand me so completely. I know I drive you crazy. We've translated that into so many unforgettable moments. Our collaboration means so much to me, and I'm lucky to have you. Thank you so much. To Scott Barnes, my makeup artist who for years, looked at the fashion and completed a picture like nobody else. There aren't enough words. And thank you to the rest of my glam fam. So many talented artists I've gotten to work with. Lorenzo, Chris Appleton, Tom Bachek, you guys know who you are. I'd also like to thank my family, my babies, Emmy and Max, Alex, Tashi, and Ella. You guys really make me feel like the MVP every day. You make me feel like the most beautiful person in the world, just from your love. Thank you so much. Thank you, CFDA, for this incredible honor, and to all the designers in this room and this industry who have added immeasurably to my personal and professional life. Thank you for having collaborated with me, embraced me, and shared with me the best of your art, your creations, your style, and mostly your kindness and love. I'm forever grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and good night. Thanks.